Yo, coming out of the way. Oh, hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Gamers Cage. Today, and only today, we are here talking about something I've been thinking about lately. It's not really a big topic, but just something I was thinking about, and that is, what is the genre or thing that Sonic is missing? Like, something that we need in the series that can hold us over, you know, between big releases, right? Because let's be realistic, right? Sonic Frontiers, you know, obviously we're getting the next DLC, but, you know, we're not going to get a next big mainline 3D game for a few years, right? We might get some remakes in there. We might get some, you know, new 2D games like Superstars in the meantime. But, you know, obviously with Sonic, you know, there are gaps. Now, with Sonic, it's a very unique franchise where it doesn't necessarily need video games to fill in the gaps. You know, we're talking about a franchise now that has movies. You know, we've got shows like with Sonic Prime. You know, we've got stuff like IDW. We've got mobile games, and all that's great. But also make sure to subscribe to your boy to support the content if you want to see more stuff. I feel like what we are really missing when it comes to Sonic is a true game as a service. Right now, we have Sonic Forces Speed Battle, the mobile game where they're running around. We technically have something in the vein of that with that Roblox game, Sonic Speed Simulator, which I think Sonic Speed Simulator, you know, for obviously the issues it has and, you know, the problems with the teams that have been there and all that stuff, is a right idea. You know, I like the idea of the Sonic game, you know, that adds more environments. You can run around, collect stuff in, but a lot of it just feels kind of, you know, bare bones and kind of whatever in a lot of ways, right? But I really do think we need a proper Sonic game that gets updated like every month or two, you know, and what genre could that be? Obviously, we've got a few options. And this is why a game like Team Sonic Racing bothers me so much, right? Because that was a game that came out, what, like in 2020, during a time, you know, where it was normal to have a game as a service, and it ended up being, you know, this racing game that just came out and nothing added, you know, no DLC added, no balance patches, no updates, you know, it sets foreign almost, you know, to launch a racing game in this time period with no updates, right? That would have been a shoo-in, you know, hey, every month or two you're gonna get a new track, you know, hey, maybe every so often we add a new item, maybe we add a new character. Like, that would have been such easy prods for that. So I do hope, you know, that whatever future racing game they do, whether it's praying for a new Riders game that they launch, or even, you know, a new regular racing game, because those do well, I really do hope that they treat it like, you know, a true game as a service, you know, a true game that I could be like, okay, every month or two I can expect to jump back in this game, have some reason to go back in and play it. Of course, another option, right, is a fighting game, right? We obviously, you know, we just had Evo, and I was thinking about it, right? Like, Sonic fans are some of the most passionate, craziest people alive, right? Could you imagine if there was a proper Sonic fighting game, you know, that was getting constant updates, new characters and super stuff? Dude, fans would learn the shit out of that. Like, you would see the craziest combos. I guarantee you that would be a massive fighting game. You know, it would get some of the biggest Evo entries, just because Sonic fans are crazy passionate, you know, when it comes to the games, and they want to consume it as much as possible. So I would adore, right, some fighting game, you know, that obviously maybe something like Sonic Smackdown, if you guys have played that, that's a really sick fan Sonic fighting game. But something like that, you know, where we just got new characters every month, you know, we got a cool campaign in it, but just something in a fighting game genre where, again, like, you could look forward to something every month or two. Another big option of something I would like is what if we had like a Sonic Maker, you know, something like a Mario Maker game where, you know, you took these 2D levels that people make, you could choose different art styles, that would be fire, and you let, you know, fans do the shit, you know, because fans are doing that anyway, so why not give the people that are into doing this in the first place and just give them the tools to it. Now, again, I know fans are actually also working on this. There's a Sonic fan game studio game where, like, you know, they're making their own maker thing, but something from Sega would be fire. You know, I would love the idea of, you know, just a game where I could just play levels forever. Now, obviously, just like Mario Maker, at some point some of the levels boil down to not being the most creative and crazy, but a lot of them would be fun, you know, a lot of them would be crazy. And again, I have no doubt Sonic fans of all people could make some of the most fun levels out there, considering what we've gotten from fans. Now, this next one, right, is a crazy idea, something that I've wanted Sega to do forever, and that is, right, have this, maybe, what if Sega did sort of this service, right, or this, I don't know, this thing where maybe you could submit your fan game or whatever you were doing to Sega, right, and Sega could be like, all right, you know what, this looks fucking awesome, you know, we've played through it, we've checked it, all this stuff, let's let you publish this, right, we'll let you publish this, and you can make some money off it, or we buy it for you for a like, we pay you this lump sum for it, and you can publish this, you know, on Steam, or you can publish this on consoles or whatever, and that way, like, we could get more just Sonic games randomly. I mean, I think about Sonic, you know, the murder of Sonic, right? Obviously, that's not a fan game, but that that was something the social media team made, you know, and it was free and it was out there, right? And that was just a nice surprise that came out of nowhere, you know. But then I look at a game like Sonic and the Fallen Star, right? Actually, just got announced today that they're making a sequel called Sonic and the Moon Facility, right? And I just like, to me, Sonic and the Fallen Star was such a game that felt so official, right? That I feel like if they were to, you know, almost be like, you know what, fuck it, we'll put the little Sega logo, you know, in the corner somewhere of this and let you guys publish this, you know what I mean? And that would have been awesome. Like, I would love maybe some service. Maybe it's like, you know, if they make a service called, you know, Sonic Central, right? Sonic Central, Sonic something, where like fans can post their fan projects and stuff within that hub or central, and try to find ways to make cool stuff. Again, I'm sure this is almost impossible, just because I'm sure there's a lot of logistics. You never know what kind of fuck shit could be in those games, you know, trolls or all that. But that's why, you know, I feel like you would have the service, you would get a bunch of people that know their shit about Sonic to play through the game extensively multiple times, right, just to see if everything is okay, and then they can go ahead and hit that publish. Because, dude, the way I see it in my head is like, if they were working with Roblox to have an official Sonic game, right? I don't see why they can't do that with other stuff, because that Roblox game, you know, that team had controversy, but the game's still going. They're still adding costumes and characters and stuff all the time to it. So, you know, I don't think it's a crazy concept to necessarily give fans the power to have something be official, you know? But I just think Sonic fan games are such an integral part of the series that I almost like Sega's leaving money off of the table by not letting these things be part of Sonic, you know, because they're so ingrained in it, you know. Sega knows about them, you know, they reply to stuff about them. There's a whole expos about Sonic fan games. I feel like there has to be some sort of way or conversation to highlight these games or make them seem more, you know, legit, so that more people can play them and more of them end up getting made. Another thing is, I know on the mobile side, right, that there was this rumor, you know, that Hardlight is working on their next Sonic game, and apparently it might be, you know, open world in some ways. I don't know how they would tackle it, but I would love, you know, I'm not saying I would love a Sonic Genshin like game, but I would like a Sonic game that maybe is a bit more engaging, you know, as a gacha in ways like Genshin, right? In a sense of, hey, it's a Sonic game that I log into, you know, every day. I fight some enemies, do some cool challenges, you know, and maybe there's some cool summonable characters, there's some cool costumes and cool events. I know, obviously, that's kind of what Sonic Speed Simulator is, but not really. I don't know. I'd want something maybe multiplayer, right? I feel like a Sonic game that you can jump into with friends, I think is a fire idea. You know, I think it's something I feel like they need. And obviously, you know, they could lean into, you know, you can make an OC or you could use one of the cast members. I mean, there's a shit ton of Sonic characters they can pull from. That would be fire, you know, whether it's main game or IDW, whatever. But I just feel like something in that vein. Obviously, I'm not saying I want it to be a mobile game, because I think realistically, I'm not saying mobile games are dead, far from it. Mobile games have millions and millions of users. But for me, for example, right, I'm not someone who like I make content, right? Whenever I'm on my phone, I'm checking socials and all this stuff. I don't have to sit down and just play a game on my phone for like an hour, right? But if it was like Genshin, you know, where it was available on mobile and on console, I feel like I'd be more motivated. Even a game like Sonic Forces Speed Battle, right? Like that game, like, yeah, it's fun on mobile, but even if that game was on console, you know, maybe it had like 5 lanes instead of 3 or something a little bit more engaging, I'd be more into that. You know, just give me something I can hop into. Obviously, there's a lot of genres I could talk about. You know, I'd love a Sonic MMO, another Sonic, you know, maybe another Sonic R type game, Sonic 2D multiplayer game, something, you know. I just think there is a definite missed opportunity / you know, missing market for this kind of Sonic game, right? Where I feel like that's what's missing, something that we can always look forward to. Because the same way, you know, you think of Mario, right? Mario just always has something to play, whether it's a sports game, whether it's Mario Kart getting DLC, whether it's, you know, something in there. There's always something to hold you over. You know, we haven't been sitting here since Odyssey, you know, twiddling our thumbs. You know, there's always been something to play Mario. And obviously with Sonic, there's always something to do, but there isn't necessarily always something to play, right? And I think something in that regard, like a massive online game or a game as a service type B, would be fire for the series. I would love if, like, even like one more thing I would love if a game like Generations or Origins, like, and maybe they make like Sonic Generations Plus, right? And to me, that would be awesome. Where imagine that was a Sonic game where like every, you know, few months they added a new zone. It's like, hey, here is introducing now, you know, Emerald Hill Zone, right? And it is now playable in Sonic Generations Plus, right? And then introducing Studiopolis, right? Now playable in Generations Plus. Like, a game where maybe like you took the idea of revisiting old levels, but instead of putting that in new projects, you put this in this definitive project that keeps evolving over time. You can call it, again, like I said, Generations Plus or whatever. Even I would love if Sonic Origins became, again, Sonic Origins, you know, platform edition or whatever, where again, every few months you got a classic game. There's so many classic games, and maybe have all the 2D games eventually. I don't know. I feel like there's so much potential, guys. What do you think the team is missing? What do you think about this idea? Should they not dive into this? Is there something you'd rather? Let me know. And of course, guys, I'll see you all later. Peace out.